I don't know when you're going to catch this. I know it's after some of my regular scheduled programming. It's either before or after. It's like right in the middle. And I'm hoping that, some folks can come in here and have a little conversation with me. But if you can't, you're going to have to catch it later. I know the other day I was doing my live and my power went out in the place that I was at. Also, the network went down. So getting back online was not a thing. I apologize. I'm going to definitely revisit that topic. Before I even get off, we want to talk about jotitdown.com, talk about Miss Helen, the black inventor who invented the game jotitdown.com. I'd like you to go on there, download the app, and just participate in this great black invention. Also, Adonai Skincare. If you need some skincare, Adonai Skincare, and my man Al Katani, who's getting all the spices organized. The Spice Man, Al Katani. Yes, indeed. Who we have here saying hello to me? Oh, it's Miss Coco B. How you doing, Miss Coco B? And everybody else who'll be coming in, popping in, to all of our earth, wind, fire, and spirit contributors. I'd like to just show some love for you. I have a new book coming out that I'm going to be wanting to gift to my fire and my spirit folks. So make sure you hang around. I got something for you. All right. To the wind people, again, you send me at delkbarrington@gmail, delkbarrington@gmail. You let me know what your businesses are if you're a wind member, and we'll talk about your business all day long. Yes. Okay, so in other news, before I even start, I just want to go back and tell y'all, I told you guys that Shannon Sharpe would have to apologize. The boy apologized. He apologized all the way to his grandchildren. Even joking. I wish I was joking. He apologized all the way to his. I told you he's a grandpapa, and he apologized all the way to his grandchildren. They made him go whip himself. Told you that's what they do to them. They're black men that get out of pocket and don't know their place, sitting there in white society, sucking up all that money, talking for the Jewish white man and everybody else, and you can't get out of pocket if you're one of those people. Shannon, you got out of pocket. You're a paid, well-fed Negro, grain-fed Negro, and you can't get out of pocket with them people. You have to go and apologize. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you're cooning for the men. All right. Well, this is Kate Barrington. If you guys have never met me before, if you're new to this particular channel, I ain't scared of none of you ninjas. That's why I like my outfits, I like my hair, I like my style, I like my things that I talk about. I don't cuss, I don't swear, but I tell you like it is. And today we're going to talk about the difference between patriarchy and sexism. Many of you have misappropriated the two. Many of you. Also, I'll be going back to some spiritual programming. I know I have a lot of people that like some of the teachings that I've done, and I'm going to go back to some of that too. I just got so much that I can talk about, and I try to keep it interesting for me and you, and I think that's the best way to do it. It's way too hot in this car. It's a snowstorm out here. It's kind of a non-work day for some of us, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm organizing myself, headed downtown. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Society, what's it called now? Society First Outcast. All right. Hey, listen, we having a good old time out here in Canada. Ain't built for black people, but we here to steal some colonizer money and go home. That's the truth. I ain't hanging around here. I might go to another one of you colonizers when I get old and, enjoy myself in Italy or somewhere like that, but can't stay here in the Great White North. You can see all the snow in the background. Now, sexism versus patriarchy. Very interesting thing that I would like a lot of you to do. I'd like you to ask Mr. Google or Miss Siri or whoever you want to talk to, and ask them, define sexism. And what they will tell you is that sexism has a couple of definitions, but the specific one that it'll say first, it'll say bias, normally by men, against women. What a biased definition. Bias prejudice, disenfranchisement, normally by men, of women. And I was having a minor, me and Batgirl, we have our little conversation. Don't know who Batgirl is? Look at some of the video, you'll figure it out. But we've had our debates. We have our kind of debates, and she's like, no, that's sexism. I go and define sexism. She defined sexism. I said, you see that? Sexism only cuts one way. According to definitions, sexism is the allegation of women that men are biased towards them. And then what happens is that definition is blended into the conceptualization of patriarchy. What is patriarchy? Patriarchy is simply the concept that the family is led by the man, or the oldest male ancestor is the leader of the family, and hence the society. That societies are inherently led by men, and that men operate in a position of headship leadership. Not the only leadership, but the chief leadership. And so now in our current definitions, in our current liberal life, all of a sudden, patriarchy has become the enemy of some. Well, let's have a conversation today. First of all, if sexism exists, right? Somebody says, what do you mean it doesn't exist? I'm not telling you it doesn't exist. I'm saying that if you believe sexism exists, then as an ism, and we know what an ism is, right? Come on, you smart people. Anytime you have ISM at the end of it, it denotes an ideology, a way of thinking, a way of life, a mentality, an approach, a methodology, right? Of thinking. Sexism is biased based on sex by the very nature of the etymology of the word. It is an ideology of sex, implying that it's an ideology that one sex is better, is preferential to the other, is superior to the other, right? And that can cut both ways. It must be able to cut both ways. So women who embrace this attitude of negativity towards patriarchy have also taken sexism and saying that, well, this is what it is. And I'm here to let you know they are not the same. They cannot be the same. They're not the same. One is the very nature of humanity. Patriarchy is what humanity has always been. We live on a patriarchal planet. Period. Unless, of course, that we have adopted some of these mythologies of, Amazonia and the Amazon kingdom and all these kind of things. We live in a paradigm where men and women who are equal, but they are not the same. And we live in a world where most societies are, or the leadership of men. I'll say it like this: most societies, the leadership of men is part and parcel of how the society runs. Even if, listen to this part, even if the society has a leader who happens to be a woman. So let's go into that. We have societies, both white and black, that are matriarchal societies, meaning that they heavily hinge on the leadership of women. Many of these societies, let's name a few. On the black side, the ancient kingdom of Ethiopia. The ancient kingdom of Ethiopia relies on the history of the Kandakas. All right, in the Bible, it calls her Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, but Candace was not her name. Kandaka was her title. Her name isn't Candace. Her title is Kandaka, which means queen. She's the leader. Ethiopia has a long history of matriarchy, yet the society is still strongly patriarchal. So even though a woman can be the queen, male leadership is still something that is part and parcel of the society. You can't get around it. England, their matriarch just died. The Queen of England just died. Nothing can tell me that the English are not a patriarchal society, right? So sexism and patriarchy cannot be the same. It can't be the same. Margaret Thatcher was a prime minister in England too. We have, even in the Caribbean and in West Africa, we have very strong matriarchies where women are held in high esteem, where the advice of the mothers, high esteem. We have in the church, the mothers in the church itself is seen as a woman. The very allegory of the church is she is a bride. The church is seen as a woman. Yet, the church is a patriarchal society. It is led by men, but it is seen as a woman. Isn't that interesting? That the church is seen as a woman, that we are the bride of Christ, it is claimed, yet it is run by men. See, and these things were never supposed to be at odds with each other. Never, 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 never. Let me hear some of y'all now. Let me hear some of y'all talk. Blessings. What's going on, man? I'm just doing my thing. Okay. Y'all just greeting each other. That's good. Listen, one of the most demonic and most aggressive things taking place right now in America, in the West, is the emasculation of men. When you start to emasculate men, you are not just emasculating a man, you are essentially trying to topple over society. You are changing the very fabric of what society is. And if your real agenda is to topple over patriarchy, you don't start with weak men, you start with strong ones. And who is stronger? Who is stronger than us? The emasculation of black men, or the change of black men from being leaders in their households, in their communities, in their families, is actually the first swing that radical feminism, and please don't confuse radical feminism with feminism. Radical feminism is hatred of men. Feminism is simply trying to bring women up to an even scale. But the swing from radical feminism to alternative lifestyles trying to equate themselves as being equal. I ain't going to get into the terminologies because I don't want nobody to ban my page, but you know what I mean. You have conversations, having conversations about alternative lifestyles, radical feminism. The first people that they come for are black men. And they come for us in a multitude of ways. In social media, and in the general media, entertainment media. They emasculate us in character. They want black men to be leaders while they are homosexuals. They want them to be emasculate leaders, soft leaders. So they have portrayals of protagonist black men being emasculated and celebrating that, making that a celebratory concept of what the new masculine is. Let me tell you something. The new masculine, if you listen to this, if to listen to this liberal society, the new masculine is feminine, buddy. The second move of emasculating men is creating a black woman who is masculine. listen to me, black ladies. Second move of emasculating a society and toppling over the concepts of patriarchy is making sure that the black woman is masculine. They want black women to be masculine. And many of you have gotten over the whole, ridiculous concepts of I don't need a man and all these kind of things. Many of you have gone past that. You know that's nonsense. I don't need a man. I can do it by myself. I'm an independent woman, all these kind of things. A lot of these concepts, many of you have realized that's a trap, right? That's a trap. You're isolating yourself on an island of no children, no family, no support structure by saying things like that. You've put yourself in the abyss of singleness forever, and most of you don't want to live there, right? And so the more you say it, the more you basically curse your future, and you realize you got to stop saying stuff like that. So you've softened that. But this is what they're doing with you now, right? Apart from, of course, telling women that they can physically and sexually please themselves by themselves or with other women, they've gone to the point where now they're having women say, well, why don't we just do what men do? I saw this meme the other day using a very popular song. A lot of these, I'll talk about that third, but a lot of people are creating dances to these songs. The song is called Girls Are Players Too, right? Girls are players too. And I saw a meme of a young girl, beautiful black woman, voluptuous, very attractive. She was changing outfit to outfit. Outfit number 1 was Zaddy came to do her nails. Outfit number 2 was Boothing came to take her out. Outfit number 3, travel husband was taking her on a trip, and the list continued, right? And these memes become they're funny, they're empowering to women because they're like, yeah, we can do that too. I can have a travel boo, I can have a guy who does my lashes, I can have a guy who takes me to dinner, I can have my work husband, all these kind of things. Creating, watch this, listen to this, poly mentalities when it comes to women's experiences with men. The new woman is a masculine poly. She's polyamorous. She's polygamous, so she can be married to multiple people, or she can be polyrelational. She can be in multiple relationships with multiple people, and women are saying, why not? Why can't we do that? Men do it all the time. Well, let me break that down. You can't do it because it is antithetical to the actual emotional chemistry of a healthy woman. Let me break it down to you. First of all, a healthy biological woman cannot be inseminated by 2 men at the same time. You cannot have 2 men's babies at the same time. One sperm got to beat the other sperm to that egg, and the door is shut. You cannot physically entertain 2 seeds at the same time. So let's just talk about that biologically first. Biologically, you are not capable of having 2 different men's babies simultaneously. You can do it back to back, but you can't do it simultaneously, right? So biologically, you can't do it. Emotionally, let's talk about emotionally. Emotionally, women can have sex with multiple men. We know this, right? You can have sex with multiple men. But many of you are going to have a lot of difficulty being in love with multiple men. You can have sex with multiple men. But can you emotionally see yourself engaged in one man? You can be attracted, beholden, oh, he does this for me and he does that for me. But when it gets right down to the nitty-gritty, the guy that you really want to be yours and you want to be his, many of you, not some of you sociopaths can pull this off. You are going to have a lot of struggle doing that. Men don't have that struggle. Men don't have that struggle. Men can inseminate multiple women at the same time. And this is what, y'all gonna hate me for this, but men can literally be in love with 2 women at the same time, or more. It's how they're built. It's how they're wired. It's how they're put together. Men can do it. It's just how we've been put together. Don't blame me and throw me off the bus, please. Men can do it. Men of antiquity have had multiple wives. Men of African diaspora, men of European, men of Asian men. Men have had multiple wives and have dealt with a multiple spousal family for thousands and thousands of years. It has been part of the patriarchal society, okay? Many of you have said, well, that's the problem. Listen, please, again, stop acquainting patriarchy with abuse. The Judeo-Christian mentality, let's begin there. The Judeo-Christian mentality follows patriarchs who most of them were polygamists. Abraham was a polygamist. Jacob was a polygamist. Moses was a polygamist. David was a polygamist. The Esther married a polygamous Persian king and was the chief woman of his entire harem. You grew up in most of your Judeo-Christian religiosity admiring polygamist men. It is part of the framework of your religiosity. Those are the ones who grew up religious. The secular individuals have grown up being exposed to scenarios where men have had multiple women as options and things like that. Some of those things have been very toxic. Ooh, Lord, that was the snow coming up. Some of those things have been very toxic. But I'm talking ancient scenarios. Patriarchy has always afforded men to have multiple wives and has always put women in a position where they're only allowed one. Now, I understand this new age we're living in, this new liberal world we're living in. I understand it. I do understand it. That women are saying, well, I don't have to do that anymore, sir. I can do what I like, sir. I can do whatever I want with my body, sir. It's my body, sir. You can't tell me what to do with it. I'm not telling you what to do with your body, man. Your body's your body. My issue is that we're trying to change society around, and it's not. It doesn't start in Europe. Nope, it doesn't start in Europe. When they start to try to make something normal and start to make it cool, they don't start in Europe. They don't go to Norway and tell those Norwegians, listen, we need y'all to become liberals. We need y'all to switch it up, make your women masculine. They don't know. They come straight to you black people. They have you guys leading the charge. That's what the feminist movement did. They said, let's go to the black woman and tell the black woman she's not being treated properly. They propped you guys up and sent you out there to destroy your families and to destroy your households. They created family law systems and said, you don't need a man in your household. We'll take care of you. We'll give you finances. We'll hunt that deadbeat slave down to the ends of the earth. Make him come back and give you your money. They created animosity in the black household, broke it up, told the black woman that she was more powerful than anything on the planet, that she was a goddess, and all these kind of things. And they did not foster wholesome family mentalities. They didn't. And let me just put this as a disclaimer before I read your comments, because I know I'm probably getting beaten up in here. A solid black woman, a good black woman, is all the woman most brothers can handle. I'm gonna say it like that. Once you got you a good black woman, boy, you got more than you can handle anyway. Some of y'all want to take on that potential, we'll call it rabbit hole of trying to be a polygamist. Most of you Negroes can't afford to keep a roof over your own head. Forget about trying to keep a roof over 2 or 3 different women. I'll just leave that there. But the facts remain that African society, Persian society, Babylonian society, Afro-Semitic, Afro-Hamitic societies have been societies of polypaternal cultures. All right? That's the fact. Those are the facts. And that if you want to emasculate a community, especially a black community, you tell that black woman, you make her enemy to that black man, you tell her she doesn't need him, and you start creating this fake system of Amazonian black women going on girls' trips. You know y'all be doing it. Y'all be setting up girl networks. You know? Y'all be trying to say. That's how it is. Let me hear you. Let me hear you now. Look at all the troubles cause them. It's only wrong when colonizers set up. Hey man, the colonizers be trying to set up standards that don't work for us. That's the problem. They try to set up standards that absolutely don't work for the black household. Let me say the third thing. The third emasculator, the third destroyer of the black community. Okay, remember number two is making the black woman to be. Number one is making the black man effeminate. Number two is making the black woman masculine. Number three, along those lines, is destroying the capacity for black men to pass on what a black man is to black sons, right? So I alluded to it. It's destroying the generational pass off of manhood. How do I pan down manhood? Manhood is cast. Malehood doesn't have to be taught. Manhood does. Let me say that again. Malehood does not have to be taught. Manhood does. You have to be taught to be a man. You don't have to be taught to be a male. So when you now cut off the rite of passage, where I have now no access to my son for the formative years, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You only have to cut off access to a boy from his father from age 0 to 12. Those kids will never recover. Once you cut off access from 0 to 12, once you impair it, once you make it spotty, once you make it, kids will never recover. It doesn't work that way with women. If you have a daughter and you don't see your daughter for 10, 20 years, and then you get reconnected with your daughter, she might have had some issues and trouble, but your connection and your capacity to be a father to her will still be there. You'll be able to pass some things on to her because you really were never part of rearing her up to be a woman, right? Just like a female and a woman are different. To teach a boy to be a man, that's 0 to 12. I'm telling you, that's why the Jew bar mitzvahs their boys at 12. It is a fragile period in the rearing of young boys from 0 to 12. And you hand off the conceptualization of patriarchy, of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a leader. You give him habits of leader, attitudes of leadership. You give him the mindset that he has to protect his family, protect his sisters, protect his brothers, protect his community. You give him his identity, his history, show him who he is. You teach him how to deal with God, 0 to 12. You form the anatomy of his strength. You got him learning how to box, so he's not a sissy in school. Push-ups, exercise, the skill sets of learning, all those things, 0 to 12. When you have court systems, and then you have popular culture that is not shaming women, especially black women, into depriving these young boys of access to their father, but they're emboldening them, say, hey, you know what? Happy Father's Day, sis. To all the women out there who are playing double roles of father and mother, I like to say all that crap. Happy Father's Day. Once you're doing that, once you're emboldening these women to be able to say, my son never needed his father a day in his life. I did everything for him. You did everything for him. That's the problem. You did everything for him. You never taught him to do anything for himself. So guess what? You're going to have to keep doing everything for him. But I do his laundry. Yeah, you've been doing his laundry for 22 years. You've been cleaning his room for 22 years. And so the kind of woman that he's looking for, he's not looking for a wife, he's looking for a mother. Right? By the time he gets, he's looking for somebody to take care of him. And so let's look at that. You got a masculine woman being raised to be independent. You've got a young boy being raised to be taken care of by a woman. And then those two meet, right? And they're in love. They like each other. They want to build life. The boy can't keep a job, doesn't have work ethic, doesn't have the mindset to save, doesn't realize get out there and do whatever it takes. But the woman, she's working 2-3 jobs to keep a roof over her head because she's been taught to be masculine, right? She's been told, hey, you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do. He's okay if she's stripping on the pole. He's okay if she's selling her body. She's okay if she's hustling and he's sitting at home doing nothing. And she's writing his resume. She's helping him build himself, right? And she's called rider because she's now an individual who's been groomed to take care of a grown boy. A grown boy, that's what he is. Not a grown man, he's a grown boy because mama did everything for him. And then when daddy comes into the picture later on, he don't like him. Too strong for him, too tough for him. You got to be a man. Da, 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 da. He's never been taught to be a man. He's never been groomed to be a man. He doesn't have habits of manhood. He has the habits of being taken care of by a very strong woman. And there you got it. There you have it. And what happens with that family? When they have children, does he know how to teach that boy? If they stay together, let's say they stay together, because remember, in the black community, we have the highest rate of divorce. You don't know, that's why we are fostering incompatible genders. We are fostering incompatible genders. We are birthing out incompatible boys and girls that cannot be compatible, and therefore we lead the charge in the divorce rate. We are the most divorced community. And so we romanticize black love because we don't see it. And then what takes place? We have black relationships that are all short-term. So what happens, because we are both male and female, being bred not to be with each other, we can be with each other for short periods of time. So you have black men, women marrying 2, 3, 4 times, or if they're not marrying, they're having multiple children with multiple people because their relationships do not have the capacity to last. And so what you have is this spectrum of women who have multiple children from multiple men and men who have multiple children from multiple women, right? And you have this society being raised up of people. That's what you got. That's exactly what you have. So this behavior that we have adopted, it needs to be analyzed. You need to dive into it and look at the psychology of it. Number one, patriarchy is not a problem. Patriarchy is not sexism. It's humanity. It's the human family, right? No matter what race you are, we have men that have a leadership role. We have women that have a leadership role. We have households that are going to be led by men and are going to have strong female leadership, but the leadership usually comes from men. That's just how humanity has been put together. That's a human condition. Sexism is the misappropriation of the relationships that we have with each other. And when broken relationships and toxic relationships happen, animosity develops. Black men say, I don't want to date black women, right? Why? Why do black men not want to date black women today? And it's true. Black men do not want to date black women, but black women want to date black men. Look at the statistics yourself, right? Black women want to date black men because they are being raised in an environment where they're taught to be strong, they're taught to be loyal, they're taught to look for that good black man, but they have and take care of him because they're watching mama raise their brother and doing everything, and they're looking at that and they're saying, okay, I got to do that. Then black men are being raised by either a single mom who can't deal with them, can't handle them, angry. They don't want that. They're not interested in that. And so now many black men are looking elsewhere because they've never been given from their fathers the mentality of, brother, no, you stay here. You marry here. You stay here. You this is your mother. You're marrying into this family. And I'm talking mostly from a Western perspective. We don't have this problem in Africa. This is not an African issue. It's probably not a Caribbean issue too. This is a Western issue. When you have choices. I was watching this show, and I'm finished right now. I was watching this show. This show where they get together and they have to marry each other, but they've never seen each other. You know that show? They got to marry each other. They start talking and they're dating, but they don't see each other. I don't know what it's really called, but they got to marry each other without seeing each other. They got to propose to each other without seeing each other, then they see each other after. And so as I was watching the show, I was like, look at the mess of this foolishness right now. That relationships, that marriage, that bonds have no more basis in culture anymore. There's no cultural basis for anything anymore, right? And there's something to be said about leaving your culture, and that's fine. But there's no basis in anything that is traditional. It is all experiential. And let me say this and let me finish and get off here. Experience is a wonderful thing. It teaches you, it impacts you, it inspires you. But there's something about tradition that must not be thrown out the window. The black family has to become a new tradition amongst Western black people, because as fast as Europe is going to become non-white, is as fast as Western society, Western black society, is going to become non-family. You will see the erosion, the complete erosion of the black family. You will have black people, but you won't have black families. And what people will be calling families are not families at all. They're not families at all. They won't be families. They will be mess. Think about this. I'm a father. I've got 6 baby mothers. My 6 baby mothers, let's just give me 1 child each, right? Those children might not all raise up together. They have children. Ultimately, my children might date my own children. Ultimately. I've seen some situation that happened already on social media. You're going to have a scenario where there's no true family. There's no true way to follow. Forget about slavery and losing your heritage. Today, people can't even keep track of 2 generations. You can't even keep track. You'll be lucky if your great-grandchildren know your name, based on how we are handling family. Imagine a family tree spread out like that, where there's no connectivity, there's no communication. Jeez, you can't put all those women in one room. You can't. Every time you move on to the next chick, I don't like that girl, I don't talk to her. Those kids, it's going to be hard for those kids to even communicate. Sometimes those kids, the age gap is tremendous. So, patriarchy is one of the chief and most important things that the black community has to maintain. Strong male leadership that's healthy, that wants the black woman, that wants to keep her, right? And wants to raise his family and keep his family proper. Strong black women who realize that it's important to be wife material. Strong mothers who realize, if I do have problems with this boy, I have to make sure that I defeat the curse of our broken relationship and re-engage him with his father. Strong men who realize that even though I can't get along with this woman, I have to spend time making sure this young man grows up to be a man, and strong society that says, hey, don't allow yourself to be participant in the taboo and the emasculation of our community. Even if you're an actor, even if you're making music, if you're making poetry, if you're painting, you cannot participate in the destruction, the macro destruction of the black family. Because patriarchy, when they come to destroy it, I'm telling you, they're not coming for white people. They're coming for you. When the strong black man is a strong black sissy, mission accomplished, baby. When you're nothing but just some guy who's dancing in videos, when you're some braided up Rastafarian tattooed face guy just making music, but you're not an actual iconic man, when you're not a person that they can say, boy, anybody would want to bring you home, you're just some guy in the community. We can't just be the weed man. We can't just be the drug man. We can't just be the rapper. We can't just be the basketball player. Can't just be those things. We just have to, some of us just simply have to be the father. All of you can't be pastor. All of you can't be rabbi. Some of you have to simply just be father, coach, dad, simple. That is the highest level for you, some of us. And it's great. It's a good level to be on. All right? Love, peace, and hair grease. This is Del Kate Barrington. This is Del Kate. I heard about the show, but never watched it. Yeah, that show is just, I watched it today. I was just like, this is nonsense, man. I was just watching it. All right? Love, peace, and hair grease, everybody. I appreciate you. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do something a little bit later, okay? First live of the day, and we'll talk. Love, freedom of choice. We'll talk about that later. All right. I hope you appreciated it. Bye-bye.